What does it mean to be dominant? I've played at the highest level. I've received the highest award.
Thank you.
But those things did not make me dominant. On this show, I want to interview people from various backgrounds and careers to see what made them dominant. That's why I decided to partner up with Mission Winnow. Together, we want to promote progress and achievement while sharing real stories of struggle and success. We want to acknowledge the challenges in front of us, but we also want to pivot towards improvement and positivity.
Everything is going to work out.
We are the dominant ones. We dunk on the world. We don't let the world dunk on us.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I did a whole piece on your hair. When I was on Basketball on WeTV, we had to do these green screen packages, and I did a piece on how the textured fade changed everything.
Oh yeah.
Because it was Bill Bellamy, I had you, Bill Bellamy, y'all kind of made, because it gave light-skinned powers to dark-skinned people. You know what I'm saying?
Hat on top, cause we think excellent. Frames on straight, cause I see excellent. Dress for success, cause I be excellent. Everything we do, everything we do.
What's up, Ron? Come on in, man.
What's happening?
Ain't nothing to it, ain't nothing to it. Appreciate you coming over. So first of all, man, I appreciate you again, man, coming to my house. That's the first thing we always ask people, where did it start for you in comedy?
My comedy started when I transferred schools. I used to go to Dean Russ Elementary, which is over in the West End, and then I transferred to Sylvan. So, in schools, kids are bullies and stuff like that. So I got jumped because this dude made up a lie and said I can do the, that dance Bobby Brown used to do with the happy feet or whatever. He was like, somebody said you could do that better. Ronnie said he could do that better than y'all. And they had these two dudes that were bullies. They were like in the 3rd grade, but they were like 14, 13 years old. Got kept back. So they jumped me, but then the next day I just started roasting everybody. I was just like, man, you stink anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
it keeps the attention off of you,
It keeps the attention, like, because I had transferred schools a couple times, and I kind of, when you're the new kid and you the fat kid, it's like, what? I'm ready for it. What you got? So it's like, I just always remember being like the king of the lunchroom. Like, I was shy at first, and then I was just like, I got jumped. I had to fight a couple people, and I was like, they can't kill me. Let me just talk back. Let me talk some junk.
That's the thing about when you're growing up, and you're going to, kids in school a lot of times can be unforgiving. They can be right out cruel sometimes.
For sure.
And so you got to find your niche and find out what works for you without it always being violent, and you found it in comedy. And like I found it in sports. So it kind of brought the two bridges together, so to speak. So, I know how it is when, growing up and you're a quiet guy and you're in school, you're in a new place. And next thing you know, you're that new target to be picked on.
New target, all that, and it was just cool, like seeing people change after your personality comes out, and people are drawn to they're attracted to, funny people, like bright people. So I just, I always kept a good attitude. Even I always got cool with the bullies. My new policy was anytime I moved, whoever the killers was, let me go straight in here and find who it is.
It's funny you say that because growing up, everybody, because you always had that one or two guys that picked on everybody in school. So if you stood up to him, now I had a situation where I stood up to bully, I was scared to death, but I had to show him that, I was down, I was with him, I wasn't afraid. But man, I said, I hope this dude don't grab me, man.
Please don't grab me.
Exactly. So everybody did that, where you kind of teamed up with the toughest guy.
Yeah, it's like you kind of, it's a preserve yourself type of thing. And it was, I had a lot of stuff going on. It was weird because my dad was always funny. My dad right now, I'm telling you, because I remember like parts of my life, I remember like you popping up. I remember going to like, I remember you had I don't know if it was you or Spud Webb had like a charity game for kids or something at the Omni.
That was my game.
And I just remember going there and then being like 8, and I was like blown away because I can touch the Omni court. Like you couldn't in the middle of season, the tickets wasn't that much, but the Hawks was kind of popping.
Well, the reason why we did that game is to get closer to the fans because it was for United Negro College Fund.
Right.
And so we will always give it back. And during that time, you had the best players in the NBA playing these games. You had Magic, Dr.
They would all come to your game and play, and they would talk to us. Yeah. That was the coolest part. It was like they right here. They talking to me, even though. I live here. This is going on up with my family, whatever. But like Magic, I remember all them. Spud used to be always at your events.
When was the first time that everybody came together and actually talked to one another? Because back when we played, we didn't talk to each other, especially an opponent.
Right.
But it wasn't about us. It was about the kids. It was about charity. Developing scholarships and those sort of things. But it was something that we felt we had to give back, and it worked for. I think I did that game for 6-7 years.
When did you know that Atlanta, like you was ours? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
man,
Dominique. Like if you think Atlanta, if even hip hop scene, even if I picture in my mind any rapper, Killer Mike, T.I., they got on the Hawks jersey, they got on the Hawks hat, the old Pac-Man logo. You know what I'm saying? It's just so embedded in our culture.
The people here accepted me right away, and I think it was because of the way I played, how hard I worked. I showed them, and I never had security, so I was never one of those guys who needed anybody to validate who I was.
That's what's up.
And so they could get close to me, they could touch me, they could talk to me. I used to stop on the street, talk to homeless people on the street. That was just my personality. But when I really knew I was theirs is when I got traded.
Oh my God! I said that on the phone with Julian. I was like, "Listen, fam, Danny Manning, my guy, come on, bro. We was so hurt." When you went to Boston, bro, we was like, and then you remember how devastating an Achilles was back then. They getting a brand new Achilles today. They get the Achilles in 2 weeks.
You know what? And I keep telling people when you experience a setback in your career like that, all the technology in the world. I mean, all this stuff is great.
Right.
Give people different options, but no substitute for hard work, man. Because I worked twice a day, every day for 9 months to get back to a level that I was just as good or better.
Because you weren't supposed to come back from Achilles. They were like, it was like done. Like,
it was done.
It was not even thought of to come back from that.
But you cannot question the heart of a person. You can't question that. And I was just one of those guys that, hey, look, I'm going to come back. I'm going to be better than before. And I got those sarcastic pats on the back. Oh, okay, good luck. But I was determined to prove them wrong. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we're doing what we're doing now with the show, The Dominant Ones. To show that what we do in our careers is not all about the success. It's the failures and the triumphs and the tribulations you went through to get to this point.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a roadblock in my life at that point. But all that work I had put in before I got to that level, before I got hurt, I said I wasn't going to let this one thing stop me, that I was going to find another way to beat it. And it's the same thing when you're doing comedy. It was great in the beginning, when you're out there with your friends and you're cracking jokes. So we always crack jokes, but I never thought about taking it to that level.
Yeah.
When you knew you were going to do this professionally?
So I remember being in college, and how when you had your first little college girlfriend, y'all doing grown up stuff, and she broke up with me. I just remember being in my room, just like, oh my God, it was my first time going raw. I don't know what to do. So I was stuck for like a week, and my buddy, my best friend Vince, shout out to Vince, man. He was my roommate. He was like, man, get your hands up. Get up. Like, what's up? We're going to go do something, man. And then I remember being in my room writing jokes down. Then I think I told him, I said, look, I think I'm going to try comedy. And he took me to this spot. First, we went to Uptown Comedy Corner, and I went and watched. And I couldn't get up. I was late. And my buddy K-Dub, me and him friends to this day, I saw him go up. Earthquake was hosting randomly. He was already Earthquake. And he was just there on a Tuesday.
I was there doing the whole start of that.
Yeah, I was going to get to, because I remember seeing you in there, a big part of my career in the beginning, and I saw you. But I just remember being in Uptown and watching. I couldn't get up, and I was like, really wanted to go up. I was late, so I went up the next Thursday. Went up there, and the only thing I had was like, I know I could be funny. I knew I could make a room turn if I wanted to. Every time I worked a job, I was the funniest one in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So I would roast, but I would roast in a nice way where the person who I'm roasting can laugh. So I'm roasting this guy, and it worked. And then I roasted this other guy, and I'm killing. And then the host, Henry Welch, was like, man, comedians roasting comedians. I was like, what? Comedian, I had roasted this dude for like 20 minutes. He was a comic. He got up there and told me up for 30 minutes. I was over there like, that's enough. Come talking about, even if he forgot about, like, even if he let it die down, ain't that right, fat boy? I was like, it was so fun. I just learned so much just in that one instance. It was like my first time up. I think it was my second time up when I roasted a comedian, but I just remember being in Uptown and the grind had begun. I was like there every week, and I was in school in Carrollton. I would drive my 83 Monte Carlo all the way down 20 from Carrollton to downtown to Uptown just to hopefully get up on stage. And then that Sunday night, you remember Nard had it, and it was like really popular. You couldn't get in. They were booing people, BMF in there, Michael Vick in there. Every celebrity's in there. You was in there. Tiny and T.I. first started dating. I remember I became like a crowd favorite on Sundays, and I had just gotten like this car accident because I was working a job and in school. I fell asleep behind the wheel a little bit, and I hit another car. Didn't have no car insurance. It was like I was so low. And I said, man, let me just get to this comedy club. I got to ride to the comedy club. I'm in there. And then I'm on stage. I'm doing good. And I seen you in there. And I was like, man, Dominique, my daddy still arguing to this day about the dunk contest versus you and Jordan. I said, you went up and did the windmill and you had them booty shorts and your nuts fell out. And you died laughing. And I was like, I'm funny now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, like, my career kind of took off.
And that's why I stopped sitting in the front.
Well, you was in the VIP. You was off to the side.
Because I usually, when I went, like you said, I would be in the VIP or I would sit right in the front. Every time I sat in front, one of you guys would roast me like
it's like
nonstop.
A love roast, cause it's
it was great. But I was like, man, I ain't trying to be the target every week.
I come up out with a lady. No. You doing what you doing.
But I love that spot.
What's up, Dominique?
Yeah, I love that spot. That was a great spot, man.
Yeah, man. And I remember just right after that, I got on Comedy View right away. I went on tour with the Queens of Comedy. It was like a contest, like a reality show. I won that in Madison Square Garden, got like $25 grand. It was supposed to be a reality show, and it never came out. So Walter Latham, who produced Kings of Comedy, because the reality show was like finding the next King of Comedy.
Right.
They auditioned all these guys. We went on stage in front of the Queens, and the crowd voted. So we finished it the same year Last Comic Standing came out. So Paramount had both shows, and they would just put ours on the shelf. But I still got the money. But Walter Latham was like, I like you. You're next. I don't care. We're going to make up, like he made up a show for me. He was like, I'm doing something like Def Jam, but it's not going to be like Def Jam. And it ended up being the Bad Boys of Comedy on HBO. And I was the first person booked. I remember going in there, giving them all the comedians' names I knew. And then when they were filmed, when it was becoming real, I remember Bob Sumner calling. He books Def Jam. He's a legend too. He was like, you know how we're going to start the show? We're going to put Ronnie Jordan up first. I was like, what? So I'm the first guy to tape in Brooklyn, in New York. In Brooklyn, New York, it was like 2003. 100 degrees outside. People waited outside an hour, and I got to crack the show open.
So is this your first big break during this time?
I had done Comic View, and I had done that Kings of Comedy search, so it was like I had all this stuff was coming back to back to back, and then the Bad Boys of Comedy was the one that was supposed to kind of be a big thing because it wasn't I don't know if you remember at one point there was Comic View had went off, and it was no Def. Well, Def Jam was off for a long time. Def Jam had been off about 10 years. It was nothing. It was Comic View, but it was nothing. Black comics can be themselves all the way, like curse or say whatever. And he was bringing that format back, and they shot it, and then they shopped it around, and HBO picked it up. But Diddy ended up being the host of it.
Right.
But I was the first one on stage. That kind of helped out, and it did really well. And then when the YouTube era started, somebody put it up on YouTube, and it started getting a bunch of hits. And then like my career has transitioned from like TV. Then I started doing colleges. So that's how I pay my bills. That's how I maintain a fan base, and I just love doing colleges, and I just had to recently, probably a couple years ago, just make a decision like, no, I got to pursue this TV. I got to get in these comedy clubs.
Well, that's where it's at.
Yeah, because they don't know me because I'm doing, I'm making money, but I'm not in the face of everybody. And then at the same time, Wild 'N Out is becoming a dominant comedy voice. Comedy View is fading out. Def Jam is fading out. Wild 'N Out is the thing.
Right.
I'm not on Wild 'N Out, but all my friends are. So I was trying to figure out that space, that weird space, and then I just kind of put myself in positions to, like, me and Ali Sadiq talk about this all the time. He's a comedian. And I just had to make a choice to kind of take less money and go feature for, like, the big dogs to get into comedy clubs. And Bill Bellamy, one of my great mentors, homeboys, took me on the road, man. Like, these clubs, you know, they kind of got to see me again. And then I went on the road with Tony Roberts. And one of the producers was like, how much time you do? I was like, 25 minutes. She was like, you got 30 minutes? you want to do a special? And then Kevin Hart was doing these specials for his own network. So he kind of picked me to be one of those. And then I got another opportunity to be on this TV pilot. It wasn't going to be a show yet. It was called Gossip. And I was an extra. And he was like, listen, prepare. Could you have like 90 seconds of whatever you want to talk about, straight to camera, rant? But like the concept of the show was I was an extra. All the cast would say something about. Imagine TMZ. It was TMZ but black. Topic comes out. The host reads the topic in the newsroom. Everybody kind of chimes in, says something funny, and then I was supposed to wait, let them be funny, and then I was supposed to be funny because they were the stars. But every time it was my turn, I was knocking it out the park. And it was like the producers was laughing, and then sometimes they would take my line. It was like, "Can we get that line to the host?" And I was like, "Fine, whatever y'all need." And I was just kind of being ready at all times. That's kind of like what I've learned over my career. Like just stay ready. When I knew I was coming to your house, I had to get my this got to be the biggest Dominique jersey that they make. This is about a 64. Yeah, I had to order it in Killer Mike size.
Yeah, that one's pretty.
That's the authentic UGA, you know what I'm saying? 81, 82. Yeah, that's a 60.
I came out in 82. Wow, that's a few years back.
When y'all talking about it ain't authentic, wait till I pull up in Home Depot with Dominique in the car. Y'all ain't gonna be ready for this.
There it is.
Authentic 2-1. I'm wearing this. I'm going to Jamaica tomorrow. This gonna get sweated out in the pool. You know I swim in the shirt, Dominique. I do.
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah,
there you go. Hey, me too.
My wife only want to get to see my titties. That's it. So I'm giving you this. This is yours. Picture with this.
Oh yeah.
Cause you know when.
You gotta love the back. You gotta love.
You see that? That's my body style. You see that?
So in making that climb to a level where you're as good as most of those comedians out there.
Right.
Was there a point during that time when now you started to grow that you say, you know what, I kind of hit the wall. Do I really want to do this?
It wasn't do I really want to do this. It was just like, what else I got to do? And then it was just like I hit a wall and I was like, okay, like for black comedy, it's weird. It's a weird space because the urban crowds are cool, but it's kind of like you have to go to the mainstream to kind of blow up, or you have to be this super internet sensation to sell tickets. Right. So I'm in that weird space where I'm not super popular, but if you come to my show, you're like, wow. Or if I'm on a show with somebody that's super popular, they're like, well, who's that guy? You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and I remember just kicking it with my boy Carlos Miller. He has his own show, 85 South. And I just remember him saying, hey, mess with me, Ronnie. Just, kind of like, I took that as watch what I'm doing. So I saw him build his own platform, which was his podcast, kind of like what you're doing here. Right. Build his own platform podcast, and it kind of grew and grew, and he built a team.
It was nothing for me, nothing like seeing comedy raw, where a guy could be himself. You can say whatever you want.
It's the best.
That's the best raw comedy.
That's what makes me skinny. Like when I become skinny on stage, that's why I'm arrogant, because I'm funny. That's not arrogant, but it's kind of like a confidence. Like they don't even know what's about to happen to them in here. You know what I'm saying? Just even watching Dave Chappelle's new special that just dropped. I done watched that thing like 3 times because it was just perfect. It was like, have you ever watched another player just have a great game? Like you ever watch Steph Curry? Like, damn, he ain't missing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he on another planet right now.
He's on another. Steph Curry step across the half court line and let it go. You like, well, damn, I guess he's in tune right now. But that was just like. It was a breath of fresh air to see him talk about all the stuff we're not allowed to talk about.
Well, let me ask you something. What if you had to go back and tell your younger self? What would you tell your younger self if you had to talk to him right now, and go back and say, hey, what would you do different?
I would tell my younger self, build a platform, build somewhere for people to find you at. Invest in like your merchandise and yourself. Spend money on building your brand. Build your brand very early and build your network. Because I'm doing that now naturally, but I was doing it the whole time. But I think the sooner you grab the concept of like my network is my net worth, like the people you know can help you get there. Like even just having a bunch of funny people around helps. Like even help write your jokes. Right. And, you know what I'm saying? It's just like I would tell myself like, start something now. Do a YouTube. Right. Do something to get back. Because the YouTube is a good thing because people, it's your practice field. It's like building a court at your house. You get to shoot all you want to. Yeah. Like you get to practice, fail, practice. Because the old way was be real funny. Hopefully they pick you to be on a TV show pilot. They ain't the way no more. The way now is shoot your own show. Shoot it now. Do it with your phone. Put it up.
I mean, you're so right. And even like now, if I had to go back and look at some stuff I would do different, it would be totally from a media standpoint.
Right.
I mean, you could brand yourself on another whole level now in a way you couldn't do back then. So the platforms are a lot bigger now. But if you had to find a place in your life where you thought, okay, I'm not really where I want to be as far as my career, where do you see yourself moving forward? Where would you want to be?
I see myself producing shows. Like I got a lot of things on the table with a couple networks now because, like lately, they've been kind of the networks is like they like different now. Mm-hmm. I did a show called Laugh Tracks on True TV. It's Laugh Mob's Laugh Tracks, and basically you just tell a story and they act it out, and they're like, "You're different. We like that." So it's like they're restructuring over there, and I'm just getting stuff together. Like my whole crew, all the comedians I roll with, they write, they produce, they're doing other stuff, and we come together. We do our podcast, and we write. And we're like, anytime because it's like we say so much funny stuff, and it just goes in the air. We like, no, write that down. We're gonna shoot that tomorrow. We're gonna shoot that today. We put our goals on the board. We knock stuff down, and it's like, I see myself producing. I see myself doing a special on a big network. And I just recorded a comedy album at the Oak, and I think I'm gonna do another one. But it's just I like how you can move independently and you can get this money under the radar really nicely.
One of the things I'm really excited about what you're doing is you're one of those comedians thinking outside the box. You're just not in one area, so you're looking to make yourself relevant in certain different areas in today's world. Yeah, that's how you do it. So man. Good luck to what you're doing, man. I think it's wonderful.
I appreciate it.
The road you're going down, and now like you said, when you were younger, you used to watch me when you was in elementary school, but I thought we were the same age, man.
Hey man, you kept yourself up well, Dominique. You came a long way from the Country Fed meat
man,
commercials.
Look, man, you got more hair in your face than me now.
Do they bring up the Country Fed meat commercials when you was doing them?
I try. Hey, look,
do you have I've been looking on YouTube, bro.
I try to cut them off.
Hey,
that was awful.
I can't find it on YouTube. Somebody send me the YouTube of the Country Fed meat commercial. Cause they had like a little random white boy and Dominique back there. Come on, Dominique, it's Country Fed meat, and I helped. And
that was the worst commercial ever.
Cause you was just over there like, yeah, I like Country Fed meat. Yeah, because I like to grill it. Yeah, and I was like, this got to be a check. My dad was like, they gonna deliver meat. Like I remember my dad. Every time I remember like a Dominique Wilkins or a Deion Sanders moment, my dad is right there in front of the TV, bends in the head, is like, Dominique, all right.
You know what? Back then, you found things you was comfortable with, and like I said, as corny as it was,
I know they had
to chant well, so I had, hey, why not?
I did like this is like my bucket list stuff because I did a show with Sinbad like years ago, and I think I went out of the way. I drove like 5 hours to go do this show for less money, and my agent was like, did a lot to get me to open for him, and I just wanted to sit and watch him because his special that he did at Morehouse, my mom was campus police there when he did it. And you was in the crowd.
I was in the crowd, yeah.
And I just remember that was one of the first specials my mom was cool with letting me just watch. Of course, I had saw Raw, but my dad let me watch Raw.
But he was so different though, the way he did his comedy. He never cursed.
Never cursed, and it was hilarious.
And it was hilarious. He was hilarious.
And then he was the first doing like full songs and kind of like parodies. Not first doing parodies, but he did a parody in his special, and it was just like a whole thing. And I did a show with him, and he brought me back out on stage. He was like, y'all, this guy is going to be something. Ronnie Jordan, I was like, wow. And me and him talked for like 2 hours after the show, and he was like, man, I was one of the first celebrities moved there. I used to hang with Dominique. I used to hang with Dion. He was just saying, like, y'all used to hang out at Dion's and kick it. How was it in those days, like hanging out in the club, being y'all, big three? You got Sinbad, Dion, you.
We were all a family. I mean, comedians, entertainers, all of us interact all the time. We were like a big family. We wanted to do comedy and sing. They wanted to be athletes. So it was a close-knit group of guys, man. And I can't tell you, man, how special that was that you could connect with different people in different fields. So, man, that's why I'm so excited what you're doing, man. And
I appreciate it. I'm ripping all the time. Hey, I keep that the old retro Hawks stuff on. I was this close to getting the Pac-Man tattoo, the Hawks Pac-Man. I still might get it. DC Young Fly got one. You seen him?
I heard, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he got a Pac-Man. I know like 5 people with the Hawks Pac-Man.
Yeah, you just need
tattoo.
a highlight film one on it. One thing I wanted to ask you, the thing we ask everybody, if you had to describe dominance in a word, what would you say? What would that mean? I would say, what would that mean to you?
Dominance is nothing can stop what you have planned. Like if you had it in your mind to do something, there's nothing nobody can do to take you off your path, your course. Like especially if it's a talent or something that God gave you, like nobody can come in my world right now and shake what's already preset for me to happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like when I know like before the game, I don't know if you get nervous. I get nervous. I call my wife, but right before I walk on stage, it click, it clicks, it locks in, and it's like I'm the dopest thing that they ever
the
saw.
nervousness prepares you.
The butterflies get you ready, and it's like it's go time. This is what we came for. Let's go get the money. You know what I'm saying? So dominance to me is like it's like locking in, and nobody can touch you. You in your zone. You at the height of it's like the height of unconsciousness, but consciousness. Like you're not conscious, but you are. You're focused on the goal, and you're just moving freely.
That's a great definition of it, man.
Appreciate
and
it, man.
again,
You know
man,
what I'm
I
saying?
appreciate it. And
Kind of like me at a buffet. I dominate.
yeah, thanks for being on Dominique Show, man. So,
Dominate.
my man.